Spoilers, 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 spoiler. Okay. Thank you to our final patrons, Rebel 4765, Midnight Gem Lord, and Sean. Another thank you to our $3 members, What Kind of Plays, and Rebel 4765. Another very big thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchiha and Idemokami. And another very big thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. Before we get into this breakdown / discussion of the spoilers for chapter 225 of Jujutsu Kaisen, please remember to leave your almost on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also hit that little in case you also miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below. Each one as low as one. Get them $1 get them exclusive videos, early content, and more. Also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Now let's hop into the discussion. What's up, guys? I'm Pencil here, and here we are, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about the spoilers for chapter 225 of Jujutsu Kaisen. And I have no idea what the chapter is actually called, because I don't know. The raws I have do not specify a chapter title, and I forget what they said the chapter title was going to be at the previous. Did they do that? Do they do that for JJK? I know they do that for Blue Lock. They'll tell you what the next chapter is, but I have no idea if they do that for JJK. But, okay. We have a complicated discussion ahead of us. I can't imagine how long the review is going to be. But let's not waste any more time, and let's hop right into it. What's up, guys? I'm Pencil here. As you can tell, I have it on me, and I keep it on me at all times. And fun fact, I also have, is this legal? Can I show off that I have this? If you're wondering, yes, I have been playing Tears of the Kingdom. And also, yes, I broke into the game and robbed Link. But regardless, regardless of that, we got a lot to talk about. Number one, I kind of want to skip through this early part of the chapter because you know the big thing we got to talk about. If you know the spoilers, you know the spoilers. If you don't know the spoilers, we'll get to it soon enough. But I'm gonna go in chronological order. Luckily enough, the raws I have do have some sort of translations or general ideas of what's going on within the chapter. So I'm not totally blind, but I am 99% blind. The chapter has a lot of talking in it, so I'm not 100% sure how things are supposed to work out in any way, shape, or form. But let's not waste any more time. So, chapter starts with a switch in point of view. I was trying to say POV, but my brain was like, no, it's point of view. But let's see. All sorcerers are watching Gojo versus Sukuna in a battle through various screens. The commentator of the telecast briefs that Sukuna is using domain amplification against Gojo to neutralize the infinity barrier. So, that thing from last chapter, it was in fact domain amplification. That makes sense. I forget. I think it was in the Jogo video. I talked about how Sakuna likely had domain expansion, or not domain expansion. Sakuna had domain expansion. But I mentioned how I thought Sakuna would very likely have domain amplification. It just seemed like it would be a thing. If Jogo, Hanami, and them could get it, it makes no sense why Sakuna wouldn't have it. So, yeah, obviously, it makes sense that Sakuna has the good. Though it still doesn't explain his shock reaction to actually touching Gojo. If he knew he was using domain amplification to, hit Gojo, why was he so shocked that he made physical contact with Gojo? I still think Gojo just shut it off. I still didn't make that review. But regardless, I still think Gojo just shut it off. Gojo could tell, oh wait, this is domain amplification. Let me do something real quick while his technique is shut off. And he just straight caught it. And then Sukuna was like, oh, I didn't have to pierce through anything. Golly. And that was that. So that's good. Good to know. Good to know that domain amplification is on the tail for Sukuna, though. Maybe bro ain't need it. But the main thing I'm interested in, because we haven't gotten it yet, and I'm really hoping we do, this is something, once again, we'll talk about once we get later on in the chapter, Sakuna hasn't even pulled out any of the 10 Shadows stuff. Especially because a lot of people been chatting. After the spoilers, a lot of people been chatting, right? And I even been chatting with my boys. And the thing we're all talking about is, there's no way Yorozu is going to have a longer fight with Sakuna than Gojo does. We're all kind of on that kind of timing right now. Right now, we are currently at 3 chapters, if you include the sneak attack from Gojo. We're sort of at 3 chapters with Gojo versus Sakuna. There's no way Gege is going to give 3 chapters for this, and I believe 4 chapters for Yorozu. I don't buy it. I know a lot of people are talking about oh, battle's over, GG. But I'm not buying that. So I'm hoping we get to see Sakuna use the 10 Shadows. You know, that thing that he went out of his way to go get? Not only am I still kind of disappointed that he's fighting in, Megami form, even if the fit and the hair is different, it is just Megami. I would love to see his 4-on form in action against Gojo. Not only am I disappointed about that, but he's also not even using the 10 Shadows. That's just something he has not touched yet. And obviously, he hasn't needed to touch it yet. The battle's, in my mind, still just getting started, though. Admittedly, I see why a lot of people are leaping to like, oh, well, GG's, because a little something happens with the Pikachu Jutsu. But regardless, we have a very peculiar crowd of individuals here. And the first three that go on, we get to see are Yuta, Okotsu, Hakari Kinshi, and my brain went so... I was about to call him Shinra. It's Kusakabe, which is Shinra's last name too, but it's Kusakabe. And, guys, I get it. I get that you need to be here in case Gojo falls, but you do realize that you have another win con. Well, not a win con, but at least, like, you have another issue you need to be taken care of. Like there's that thing that's currently in another body that's, you know, roughhousing everybody. Like, I mean, maybe they're doing this because they're assuming Kenny's gonna come to them, but I think them not actively hunting Gown. Yes, sewing Kenny and Gown. But no, the fact that they aren't actively hunting down Kenjaku right now feels a bit off to me. Like, it seems strange. Like, there are certain characters here that I get why they wouldn't go and hunt down Kenjaku. Miwa, outside of Meme Miwa, you know, Meme Miwa, who's like hyped to top 0 in the verse, like outside of her, and well, literally just outside of her, real story Miwa, not doing anything in Kenjaku. Real story Kusakabe, not really doing anything to Kenjaku. Well, there's not really a fake story Kusakabe, but like a majority of the characters here aren't doing anything to Kenjaku. The main ones I'm wondering about, because let me see if we see her here, because I'm not actually sure. Do we see her? Yeah, she is here. Maki, Hakari, Yuta. What are y'all doing sitting around? Like, I get it. You need to be on standby in case Gojo falls. But, like, Kenny's also there, right? Like, you do realize that he also is a major threat. And you're just letting them stat pad right now. Like, maybe, once again, maybe they're doing it on purpose. Maybe they're doing it on purpose because they're hoping that Kenny tires himself out while he stat pads. And obviously, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 major culling game participants that still... Kenny would have to come hunt down to end the culling game in order to start the merger. So maybe that's the plan here, but the fact that, I don't know, this is once again the Raws, I have no idea if they actually mentioned in this chapter, the fact that Kenny's just allowed to run free right now, kind of weird. I get why, in narrative, like either they're hoping he tires himself out so they have an easier fight when he pulls up on them, since he has to pull up on them, or they just can't find him. Like, I get that. But then again, Gojo was able to just instantly find Sakuna, and I highly doubt Kenny's being subtle as he's running through and slaughtering every other player in every other colony. A little underwhelmed that they aren't trying to jump him right now. But regardless, with that being the case, we do get to see that Yuta explains that it's the same plan Hanami and Joko used against Gojo, as they saw in Mekamaru's video. Akari wonders how it's possible, to which Kusakabe replies, the main implication is an upgraded version of Simple Domain. Oh, interesting. Because we know Kusakabe is the one who created New Shadow Style. And the big thing about New Shadow Style is that it's the reason people know how to use simple domains, not the equal concept of simple domains, hollow wicker I can never say that properly. Hollow wicker basket. You know, the thing that Reggie and Kashimo can use. That's an ancient version, like a Heian era, or not necessarily Heian era, because Kashimo's 400 years old. He's not actually from a Heian era. But it's not that ancient version of the technique that knows domains. It's the modern variation of it. And Kusakabe, the creator of the New Shadow Style, he's known for that. So the fact that he can recognize domain application as just an upgraded version of Simple Domain is impressive. I wonder if he could hypothetically teach that to anybody else. But, like, I don't think he has it himself, so I wouldn't be shocked if he couldn't. However, he's not the one I'm here crazy to see about. Who I'm really happy to see is Higuruma. I know, like, he's not going to do anything. Bro is comparable to pre-liberated Yuji with no cursed energy. Like, I know he's not relevant at all in a fight, but I have to say, just going, he's like top 3 favorite characters that got introduced in the culling game, so I'm just happy to see him. The text here doesn't comment on what he says. It mainly focuses on what Angel says, and Angel tells the cons of implications that one can't use their innate curse technique. So this is just an ancient technique. This is something that Kenny knew about and taught to the disaster curses. Same goes for Sukuna, but if Sukuna has a different plan to bypass infinity, then Angel comments that Gojo will lose. Okay, so no idea what Higuruma said on this panel. Can't wait for the translation. He is thinking something. I wonder if he's thinking about the legal ramifications of this. But regardless, I hate Pandas though. Like, sorry, like, Panda's on the screen and he's like, hitting the scratch his head. And I get that. I scratch my head all the time too, Panda. But when you do it, it just doesn't feel right. When you do it, it makes me annoyed. When you do it, Panda, I swear. But, sorry. I don't know why. It's just that the fact that Panda's here and Nobara isn't here. The fact that Panda's here, but Toto isn't here. The fact that Panda's here, but Nanami isn't here. Like, I'm sorry, dog. I just don't... I don't like Panda, dog. I just don't like him. But regardless, we do get to see that Miwa asks, why isn't Sakuna just using domain expansion? And Kirara ends up rebuking Miwa by saying, you say it's so easy, but it would finish the battle immediately. And Yuji says a must-hit effect of a domain would be able to penetrate Gojo's infinity. So, essentially, Miwa's wondering, like, yo, if you can just GG, why not just GG? Yeah, that's a good question. Like, why not? If you could just, and then the battle's over, why not? And then the battle's over. But obviously, something that was pointed out a lot in the previous spoiler discussion in this comment section was the idea of that, like, these two are going to cherish this battle. It's probably the last real battle they've ever had, no matter who wins. Say Gojo wins. We already saw how Kenny was shaking and shivering in his boots when it came to Gojo. Not really a close competition. Sukuna wins. I'm sorry, Yuta fans, I don't buy it. I'm sorry, Hikari fans, I don't buy it. Maki fans, if he was still 15 finger, maybe, but not 20 finger. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. And as much as I love liberated Yuji, and obviously he's fully healed up now, I still don't buy it. So, like, Sakuna wins. That's a GG in of itself. So this is their final, most intense, great battle ever that they're gonna have for the rest of their days. So it makes sense why both of them are, like, savoring the fight, even if it's wrong and kind of dumb to do on either of their parts. Realistically, both of them should have just appeared and, like, just straight up immediately. That's what should have been the round start, but these guys they're the strongest, so they're gonna be playing around. They're gonna play with their food a little bit, have a good old time. But with that being the case, we do get to see everyone's just getting a panel here. And I do like this. It's good to see Gege's updated art style with some of these characters. Like, characters we haven't seen them draw full scale in a minute. Like, whoa, get away from my screen. Like, Kirara, it's great to see her in a full art style page. We rarely get to see her. Miwa, fantastic to see them. Even Choso's looking even better. And he's pretty recent. He had chapters like 20 chapters ago? Like what? Kenny... We're on 225, so around 20 chapters ago. But yeah, I just like these full headshots. Though admittedly, I kind of couldn't care. Like that's the thing about the beginning of this chapter. There are like two things that I like about the beginning of this chapter. And it's Kashimo, who we'll get to in a little bit, because I wish I had like a sign that read Fraud Watch, because we're gonna get to Kashimo. I swear, we're gonna get to that man. Because sweet mother of mercy, Kashimo, I want to slap you. But regardless, Higuruma, because I love Higuruma, and that's about it. Because these guys are essentially just saying things that we already know, except for like the domain. The only thing that's like genuine good information to have is the domain amplification stuff, because we didn't know that verbatim. Like we guessed, but it wasn't stated. So it's nice to have that confirmed, but the rest of this is kind of nonsense. Like, Ui asked, what if Sakuna is assuming he can't win a domain battle against Gojo? The Shogo replies that Gojo's wicked personality and Six Eyes would have caught such thoughts of Sakuna, if any. Then Choso adds that Sakuna's domain doesn't have any barrier to begin with. So, this is a major thing that we're going to talk about in a bit, but they know that Sakuna's domain is barrierless. Gojo, Satoru should have known that Sakuna's domain was barrierless. Remember this. Choso says that they know. And I believe it's even stated later on that they referenced that Kenny had it. Everyone is shocked to learn the fact that Sakuna's domain is barrierless. Choso says he got to know about it from Yuji and Inumaki. So, how did Inumaki find out? But, well, I guess I know how Inumaki found out he lost the arm. But, like, if this is information that was not given to Gojo, why did you not open with that? Why did you not? So, like, if Gojo didn't know, that's one thing. If he did know and he still tried it, I want to smack him too, though I wouldn't, because, you know, infinity. But regardless, we finally have Mr. Fraud Watch himself on the page, so I can talk about him. Kashimo Hajime. Kashimo Hajime. You listen here, young man. You listen to me. What are you doing here? Isn't this the man you wanted to fight, to box with, to the end of your days? Isn't this the guy that you literally let yourself almost get GG'd for? Kashimo Hajime, what are you doing? Nah, I thought you were supposed to be him. Why ain't you cooking? Why ain't you cooking right now? I thought you'd be too prideful to run up on a fatigued Sukuna, because that's the main thing. And like notably, I'm a massive Kashimo fan myself. Like even if my opinions have changed, just off of recent stuff, even if my opinions have changed on Toji versus Kashimo, that's a later video for a later day. Even if my opinions have changed, I made that video. That Kashimo versus Toji drawing took like 3 hours. It was so painful. That was the first time I'd ever done like a full, proper, extensive drawing on, and like one that was mostly not mostly original. The Toji is verbatim, like just how he looks when he got hit by purple. But at least for the Kashimo, that took time. That took effort. Kashimo, I dedicated time to you, bro. Why? Why are you sitting around, bro? Like I get it. Maybe he discussed it, but like, bro. Don't you want your ones? Don't you want your... Isn't this what you've been waiting for? 400 years of longing. Was that movie that came out with Idris Elba? Like 1,000 years of longing or whatever? Like what happened, bro? What happened? Why are you sitting around? Why aren't you getting active? Get active, bro. We've been waiting for this. I've been trying. Like, y'all. I don't know about y'all. But as someone who's around in the JJK community, there have been countless, and I mean countless videos, Kashimo's technique, Kashimo's gonna be relative Sakuna, Kashimo's like that, Kashimo's top line. And to be fair, I agree. Kashimo's pretty unequivocally in my top 10. Like, I think it's kind of impossible to argue otherwise. Like, I don't think I can name 10 characters stronger than Kashimo, even without his technique. Just off of what we've seen from him so far, he seems like a top 10 character. But regardless of any of that, the fact that Broski right here, the lightning beast himself, is sitting around like, oh, like the fact that he's just sitting around and chatting, dog. If you don't get there and run or jump the man, like let's be real, even this is not we in JJK, we ain't really about ones. JJ Jujutsu, like we know it's Jujutsu Kaisen. Thusly, don't even run the ones, jump the man. Kashimo, I'm kind of disappointed in you, bro. I expected better. Like, am I the only one who feels that way? Because I haven't seen it. Notably, this chapter has something way more important than Kashimo, sitting out and being a little bit cowardly. Like, obviously, but like, I haven't seen it. Is it just like the Kashimo agenda, just like everyone's just like pushing that down? Because I don't know. I'm kind of nettled because bro has been like off the map for the past 3 chapters. So I thought, oh. Bro's cooking. Like he was either gonna pull up on the battlefield, like he ran off like a wild card, or like he already out the fear in my heart was like, oh no, bro already got off screen. That's why I'm not seeing him. Like he tried to run up on Sakuna and Sakuna did him like Ryu. But like Kashimo, bro, you let me down, dog. I want to see you do it. Get active, Kashimo. I hope he gets active. The only thing is though, now since he's here, the only way he can get active is if Gojo loses, right? Like that's the only way. Because you can't fight Sakuna if Sakuna doesn't exist. So like, I hope they just jump him. Like straight up, it's fine if Gojo can't beat Sakuna on his own. Like notably, I've been the one, and I still am. Trust me, I'm not even if Gojo stocks are down, my investment's still gonna be up. So like, I get it. But jump, bro. Just jump him. I just want to see Kashimo in action again, bro. It's been like half a year. Has it been a whole... It's summer already again. I remember the Kashimo fight started coming around in summer of last year. So it's only been a year since we've seen Kashimo in action. So please, Gege, throw him in the fight. I don't even care if he gets one shot. However, with that being the case, we do get to see that Miwa doesn't understand how a barrierless domain works, so Kusakabe asks her to throw water. Miwa throws a bottle near her, and he gives it back to her, saying he never asked for the bottle, just the water. And Mei then says barrierless domain is like painting without a canvas. Pretty much. I mean, yeah. See, once again though, that's what I'm saying about the back half of this chapter, except for like minor character appearances and one clarification, isn't like too crazy. Like this is stuff we already know. Like we were there. We've seen 2 barrierless domains at this point. It's not even fully unique to Sakuna anymore. So I don't know if I'm 100% rocking with it. Like I think Gege kind of just wanted to do a back half slowdown on this chapter. That's fine. I get it. But I feel like if you were going off, but then again, he kind of did a reset at the end of 224 too. But I think you just want to keep building momentum. And he does by the end of this chapter. Don't get me wrong. But I think more fighting would have been better to open up this chapter with. So, and we'll talk about it. But with that being the case, we see Maki says it's rare, but not impossible. Megami's domain expansion was incomplete and therefore lacked a burial as well. How does she know she was there? Never mind. I was about to say, how does she know that? She does, because she was in the Dagon fight. But with that being the case, Kusakame says Megami is not the same as Sakuna. Megami had to make use of the environment since it was incomplete, while Sakuna has full, free control over his domain expansion. That is true. That is the very fundamental difference. Sakuna has a sure hit. Megami's is just not it. Like, legitimately, that's the major difference. However, with that being the case, Choso reveals that Kenjaku also had a barrierless domain. He explains that in their battle, Yuki used a simple domain while Tengen dismantled Kenny's domain from the outside. Choso adds that Yuki's simple domain didn't stand a chance, but if she had used her domain expansion, she may have stood a chance, which is interesting. Though after this chapter, I don't think so. Like, I think she was just like, notably, I've seen some Yuki fans. It's not as common. I've seen some Yuki fans come out the woodwork once these spoilers and these leaks drop, being like, "Oh, Yuki could have beat Kenjaku." I still don't think so. I think the same thing would have happened to her barrier. Like, being completely honest, especially considering what Kenjaku's sure hit effect was, I legit think the same thing would have happened to her barrier. But we'll still get into that. We're still talking. We're still chatting, and we see that Ino asks if they're talking about using the domain expansion casually, but it can't be used often, right? Inumaki says, okay, and Yudo translates it saying that Gojo doesn't have to run out of CE, and says using domain consecutively should be a different case. Kashimo adds Sakuna is a deity when it comes to officially using cursed energy. When it comes to efficiency, Sakuna would have already won the battle if not for Gojo's 6 eyes. So Kashimo W glazing. I have no idea how he knows that. I have absolutely zero idea how, because he didn't even know who Sukuna was until literally his deathbed, right? Like, didn't he immediately die after that flashback that we got with him and Kenjaku? Did Kenjaku like give him a whole rundown on Sakuna or something that we just didn't get to see? I mean, I guess it's entirely possible, but it's just weird seeing Kashimo slop off like this. But like, dude, once again, stop crossing your arms and being like, "Oh yeah, Sakuna, he's so him. Oh no, maybe I shouldn't want to fight him." Like, Kashimo, go throw hands, dog. I don't care if you get one tap. That's the Ryu fan in me speaking. I'm sorry, y'all. The Ryu fan is leaking out, and the Ryu fan is so sad that Ryu's gone. Why did he have to get? And speaking of a character who isn't here, where's Uro? You're telling me you managed to find Higuruma and you brought Higuruma back here, but not Uro? Like, I get it. She's scared and probably would never want to run up on Sakuna. But like, what is she doing? Is she just gonna get off screen by Kenjaku? Oh lord, is the whole Sendai group just gonna be jobbers? Like, Dhruv was a jobber. Kurushi was a jobber. Ryu was a jobber. Is Uro just gonna get jobbed? Like, are we gonna cut to Kenny one chapter and he's gonna be like, Sakuna wasn't the only one you should have feared? And like, is that what's gonna happen to Uro? Because she's not here either. But Ino and Kusakabe and Higuruma. Well, I love Higuruma. So Higuruma, you stay here, but whatever. It's interesting how Kashimo is it. Like, admittedly, even though I'm very unhappy with the man, kind of appearing a little bit fraudulent right now in terms of just like slopping off Sakuna like this, I do like how he does have respect for Gojo and his abilities as well. He's like, yo, if it wasn't for the 6 eyes, he'd be out of the battle. But he's respecting, like, oh, bro, he's got the 6 eyes, so he may be a little bit like that. So I like that. Shout out to Kashimo. Even though he is on fraud watch. Like, there's no other way to put it. He is on fraud watch. However, we do get to see Momo comes to the conclusion that saying that's just her guess, but even Gojo and Sakuna might not know what the outcome of their domain battle would be. Higuruma then calls out to everyone to look at the screen, and here's the big event. Scene switches to both Gojo and Sakuna opening their domains. Now, here's the thing. I don't think they told Gojo that Sakuna has a barrierless one. I don't think they did, and I think that's dumb. Of all the things, bro did literal special training, but you did not tell him that he had a barrierless domain. Because here's the thing, right? If Gojo knew, and he still opened his domain against Sakuna, that's just stupid. That's just Gojo being too confident. Idiot. Like, I'm not going to say that. And here's why. Sukuna's domain has an open barrier. It is barrierless. Whatever one... I know the barrierless is a translation, but I'm sorry. I've been so used to saying barrierless domain. I know it's open barrier. But it has an open barrier. It has a 200-meter range limit. Gojo teleported from one side of Japan to the other. You know all Gojo needed to do to beat Sukuna's domain and get him without his technique? Gone. leave. That's my, like, I think I mentioned it in the Gojo vs Sukuna video, but like he doesn't actually have to engage with Sukuna's domain because it's barrierless. It'd be one thing if it was a barrier domain, because you know barrier domains create like a separate space. Dagon's Island, the Coffin of the Iron Mountain, heck, Megumi's domain, even if it's incomplete, it kind of creates a separate space with the whole Shadow Realm that you immediately fall into if you don't reinforce your feet with Curse Energy. That separate space makes sense, but since Sukuna's domain overlaps with the real world, all Gojo has to do is leave. Leave and come back. Or just stand outside and wait. Sukuna's not going to leave the domain on forever. And even if he does and tries to chase Gojo, Sukuna can't teleport. So just keep, and I know it sounds bad, just say, oh, you want Gojo to just start running away? Yeah, if he was going to win, if he wants to win, that would be the best thing to do. Just run Sukuna out of his cursed energy and fade him when he doesn't have his technique active anymore. But these two do open domain. And admittedly, I'm not gonna lie, I love Gege's art style, don't get me wrong. I think it has fantastic implications for the narrative he tells within JJK, and I'm even planning a video on talking about how the gritty nature of JJK's art actually helps sell its narrative versus just looking ugly. But this, outside of the hands, I will admit the hands are very, very good. As an artist who cannot draw hands, I respect whenever I see good hands. The angles that he drew Gojo and Sakuna at are not very flattering. They both look very ugly here. Like the perspectives look off. Like seeing Gojo's 15 head, and I know. Yes, I have a massive forehead too. I get it. But still, like seeing Gojo's 15 head and the weird perspective of his eyes and seeing Sakuna's like, it's like it seems like a fourth quarter view of his face, but you still get to see a moderate part of the other half of his face, and his face almost seems like too flat. Like, I don't know, it feels like Gege just kind of missed a little bit when drawing their faces in particular. Everything else looks fine, but their faces look a little bit weird. And who are they looking at? Who are they like, I get it. It's for us, the reader, looking at them like they're like, oh, and Sakuna's like, oh, but like, why are they like Gojo? Like, Sakuna's not over there, Gojo. He's right in front of you. Why are you going like, you're going like bro, what is he cooking? like legitimately. And Sakuna, like, I can't even do, I'm not even gonna pretend I can do Sakuna, so I'm just gonna, like, Sakuna, once again, where are you looking, bro? Like, oh, like, what's over there? But they do open their domains. And here's the thing, right? I think this is kind of weird. I mean, it makes sense. It does, actually, it kind of doesn't, though. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. Because here's the thing. Gojo's Limited Void versus Sakuna's Malevolent Shrine. Inside Gojo's domain barrier, both Gojo and Sakuna must hit effect overlapped and got canceled. But if either of them get severe damage and collapse, the must hit effect will affect the opponent in a split second. So, here's the thing. Take a sip. Huh? Okay. So, the thing with Sakuna's domain is that it doesn't have a barrier, right? Or the barrier is open, meaning it kind of just overlays the space. It doesn't create a separate space. It overlays the space. So the sure hit effect should be independent, right? Like, I'm kind of confused on why the sure hit effects cancel each other out here. Like how do I explain it? Like, maybe it's just super duper simple and I'm just not the sharpest spoon in the kitchen shed, which I know I'm definitely not. So, like, don't get me wrong, I understand that, but like, thinking about it, at least like trying to twist the pieces together that make sense in my brain, you would think that the instantaneous nature of both would be negated in the sense that both would activate since they don't interact in the same way. Like a barrier and a barrier is two negatives. They cancel each other out and become positive. Kind of like how curse energy times curse energy is reverse curse energy. But this is like multiplying a negative number by a positive number. You're still gonna get a negative number. That's just how it worked. At least that's how I thought the domains would interact. I thought both would be hit. Like, if anything, I expected Malevolent Shrine to start cutting up Gojo, and for Sakuna to start going. I thought both of their techniques would activate, especially considering how fast they seem to work. And it seems like that's not the case. And their domains do happen simultaneously, but not simultaneously. And here's a weird thing, right? Another weird thing. So what happens? Obviously, this is the big thing that has everybody freaking and geeking. Kusukame and Meme are shocked. Narrative explains that Sakuna's domain is effective range even reaches outside Gojo's barrier, and the barrier of the domain is usually completes the sentence. A barrier's domain is weak against attacks from the outside. Huh? So this is a question. Do domains not make separate spaces? Is that just like debunked? Because the thing with domains is that when you're in a barrier, the space is supposed to be segregated, like from the rest of the world. That's what makes Sakuna's domain impressive in the first place, that it doesn't need to overlap and overwrite space. It just exists in reality. So within Muriokuru's Infinite Void, isn't there like an infinite, well, not like a literal infinite. I'm not saying like Gojo creates a universe, but like you'd think it'd be bigger than 200 meters, or at least you would think that, because like for something like Dagon's domain, right? Like Dagon creates an island, and we know this island is like legitimately tangible. Like there's water and there's land, and that's how like a lot of people get like, you know, island level or whatever for JJK, because like, oh, there's that. And Coffin of the Iron Mountain too. It's like a literal mountain that is a coffin with the iron. But I guess not. I guess those aren't. I guess barrier. But the thing is, that doesn't make sense, because we see in Dagon's domain, despite Dagon's domain in like the real world being maybe as big as a normal room, I'd say, it has like massive space to it. Like Dagon can be deep in the beach, and the sorcerers can be way out in the water and be just fine. But I guess not. I guess Sukuna's so the only way I could like rationalize it to myself after thinking about it really, really hard all day, because of course I saw this in the morning. I had to wait until later to record though. But the only way I could rationalize it in my head is that like, since Gojo's barrier and any barrier still has set coordinates in the world, we know this based on how Akari can move the coordinates of his domain to throw Kashimo over the water, then technically, even though there is a separate space created, it's not really like it is and it isn't. I know it sounds weird, but it is and it isn't. So yeah, there is a separate space that is a domain, but in reality, it's not really a separate space. And thusly, the 200-meter effects of Sakuna's domain still rely on the actual reality instead of the false reality that's set up by domains. That's the only way I can rationalize it, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. I thought, at least the way I thought this domain clash would go, not what I expected. However, with that being the case, we do get to see that Sakuna's slash attacks Gojo's barrier from the outside, and the barrier collapses. So this is intriguing to me for one reason and one reason only. The simple fact that how do I put this? How do I verbalize this? How do I Batman, no laws against the Pokemon, Batman. No, but the thing is, right? So Sakuna wins the domain clash. I like, even as the number one Gojo huffer, like the Gojo cult master himself, I believe that Sakuna would win a domain clash if their domains actually clash, but I didn't think their domains were actually going to clash, because I thought they were two fundamentally different things. Like a barrierless domain versus a not barrierless domain, thought they would interact way differently. But considering Sakuna wins, Gojo does get cut. And very specifically, he doesn't just get cut anywhere, he gets right here. And here's where a major question comes in. Does Cleave and Dismantle actually attack the soul? And if so, can soul attacks be healed by RCT? This is a supplementary question. I think the answer is yes and then no, which is worrying for a Gojo stan like me. Because here's a couple things, right? Gojo has activated domain. His domain does in fact get activated and then crushed. So Gojo doesn't have not just infinity, but access to any of his techniques right now. All of his techniques are, or at least it's not confirmed that he has exactly no access, but it, like, hold on. Where's the Googler? There's the Googler. I believe, let me go, I'm about to deep reference in the middle of recording. But if you remember what I'm talking about, I know, I forget, hold on, Google guide me. Remember in the Sendai fight, what the narrator says after, English, what the narrator says after the three-way domain clash of Uro, Ryu, and Yuta, it doesn't exactly say that the technique is impossible to use. It's just difficult. But let me fact check myself on that, because I'm not 100% sure that's what it says, but I just remember that. I love the taste of iron. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. Immediately after domain expansion, Wooden Curse techniques burns away, making it difficult to use. Not impossible to use though. I think there is. So that's my huff of copium. That the domain is difficult. No, the technique is difficult to use, but not impossible. And the question is, can bro leave? Can he still get gone? Because I don't think the battle's over. That's what a lot of people have been like. It's been rampant. I've seen you, internet. I've seen you. People have been rampant. Up, slit him on the throat. He's done. Battle's over. GG. G-jizzle. It's all over. It's all over now. And I don't even blame y'all for that, because it does look kind of definitive, but. And that's the thing. I even agree with most people, because a lot of people have been like, because a lot of people, the Gojo fan, the sides of the community, the side that I happen to be on in this case, is like, oh, well, he's just going to heal it off. But one, this seems to be the first slash of many. Sukuna's shrine is still open. You can, oddly enough, you can literally see him standing on it. Like, his shrine is still, in fact, there. So his domain is still active. It's still on and popping right now. So this first slash we see is probably the first of many. He may just get Maharaged. So he's not just going to have to heal one cut. He's going to have to heal thousands, presumably. And with that being the case, I don't know if he can do all that. But, it's a little concerning. It's a little concerning. And with the idea that you can't even heal Sukuna's attacks because they attack the soul, based on how his dismantle within his inner domain like attacked Mahito and actually did damage, even though that was just Mahito's soul. So, and Inumaki couldn't get his arm RCT'd because it was attacked by Sukuna's domain. So like soul. This is a little concerning. But I do think, if I had to say, I don't think the battle's over. I think Gojo's going to leave. I think he's going to leave, or there's the other option. Gojo is going to get a secondary awakening. The only reason I don't rock with that option as much is because, like, what is he awakened to? A barrierless domain? like legit. What is he awakened to? Like, notably, the look he has on this final page is very similar. Is almost kind of similar to the, like, when he was tweaking and geeking after the Toji fight. Like, this is kind of what he looked like, but not necessarily to the same degree. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Like, I don't think Gojo's done here. But the question is what? I'm gonna bank, like, once again, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure there's another statement in the manga that says techniques are impossible to use post-domain, and we see even after Gojo uses his domain against Jogo, his infinity is down and he has to react to Hanami's attack. So, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Gojo can still, it'll just be difficult for him to get out of here. But he's Gojo, so I think he'll be able to do it. And I don't think the fight is over. I do not believe the fight is over. I think it's too soon. And once again, I raised the same question that I've raised a couple times before. Sukuna wins, especially this easily. What happens next? Bro has no damage on him. He has not summoned a single one of the 10 shadows. His domain is still active. What is Yuta going to do? What is Sakari going to do? What is Maki going to do? What is Yuji going to do? And none of them can do anything. So I don't see this being the end of the fight. I see Gojo cooking somehow, some way. We'll see if Sukuna's attacks can be healed or not next chapter. I'm pretty sure we'll see if Gojo can still use this technique next chapter. But hey, I'm still huffing Kopi. my Gojo stocks are still, I'm not pulling out. I've seen a bunch of people pull out their stocks and start investing in Sukuna stocks, but I'm sorry. Right now, Sukuna stocks are too high. You're not going to get good return on those, especially if they fall drastically. I feel like they're going to crash soon enough, if not in next chapter, the chapter after that. So I think I'm gonna hold on to my Gojo stock. In fact, I'm gonna put more Gojo stocks on the table. I'm gonna put more money into Gojo stock because they're low now. So I'm gonna buy some more Gojo stocks. But what do you guys think? Do you think there's a good time to be buying Gojo stocks? Do you think this is the time to pull out of Gojo stocks? Do you think the battle's over? Are you excited? Let me know all that and more in the comment section down below. And fun fact, regardless of how much I didn't really care for the back half of the chapter because it was a whole lot of nothing to me, the chapter is still worthy, just on the spoilers alone. But regardless, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below, explore as low as $1 a month to get the exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Now, thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.